The sponsor of this episode is Chadwell Supply, an OG in the multifamily industry. Chadwell Supply is the largest privately owned maintenance and repair supplier, and they deliver orders the next day from local warehouses across the United States. To find out how Chadwell Supply will make your day better, visit www.chadwellsupply.com/difference.
Welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. Join in as we explore motivation, inspiration, and engage in thought-provoking conversations. We provide actionable ideas to help you establish a solid foundation to achieve your career goals. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and I'm excited to bring you inspiring stories that will empower you to reach your full potential. And welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and this episode is brought to you by Multifamily Media Network. I am so excited about my guests that I have on today's episode as we dive into so many different things, from career to employee experience to just deep conversation about some stuff that you just want to talk about. We're going to get right there to it. So I would love to introduce my guest, Dana Duckworth. She is also a nationally recognized public speaker, facilitator, and a DEI advocate. So welcome, Dana, to Thriving in Multifamily.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to chat with you today.
I know. I always stop and say, we're going to dive into some deep stuff. People are like, what is she talking about? Well, I want to keep the expense. I'm not just going to tell you what we're going to talk about, but we're there. That's what conversation is all about, right?
Yes, we are going to get into some things.
Yes. And I have been waiting for this, and I'm excited about this episode as we just chat through. But before we even get started, I just want Dana to just share a bit about your background and your story and how you got started. Let the world know if they don't already know.
Yes. So if you don't know, I'm Dana Duckworth, aka the Big Speaker. I have over 14 years of experience in multifamily. So I started as a leasing agent, assistant manager, property manager, and then I went over to the supplier side to sell advertising for, at that time, we were still doing a little bit of print. We were converting to all digital. So I did have a moment of carrying around all of the books with me. So I worked on that supplier side in sales of advertising. Later on, I went to work for another supplier company in the same role. And then flash forward, I ended up in their people operations department, supporting DEI strategy, culture, and engagement for that organization. Becoming a public speaker, a podcaster, a host, a consultant, everything over the last 2 years. My life has kind of been a whirlwind.
I love it, man. And she doesn't have all of these things under your belt, which is truly amazing. And that's what thriving in multifamily is all about. You were definitely thriving. You have, from your beginning of your start in your career to where you're at now. And don't you ever just look back and you're like, whoa, how did I get from where I'm at to where I'm at today? And continuously, going and moving in that direction. So what keeps you motivated, Miss Dana? What keeps you going and have those goals be like, check, check, check?
What keeps me motivated? I mean, a check, getting paid. Let's just be clear. I like to get paid. I am a mother of twin boys. They're 16. Their shoes cost a lot of money. So I think I've just always had that ambition, but I am a person who is just so thirsty for knowledge. So if I'm into something, especially my career, I kind of that becomes a huge part of my identity, and I want to know everything and I want to grow in that space. So it's really about continue learning for me, educating myself, and then putting myself in a position to be able to educate others now, which really excites me.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's so funny you say you have your teenage boys. I have a 21-year-old. So I definitely understand getting that paycheck and he's in college. So yes,
Oh, yeah.
that that definitely is a great motivator. You're definitely doing your thing out there, and I see it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about inspiring and giving back to people, and really showing them what their careers or what their lives could be like, but the representation of everything within that as well too. What are some common challenges that you feel that people come across when it comes to their career journeys or just growing in our
Well,
industry?
I'll say for me, back
Okay.
when I was making the jump from property side to supplier side, one is a huge learning curve, right? And then
Mhm.
two, I was the only Black woman that worked on that team. And then I was one
Mm.
of very few Black suppliers at that time. I think it was myself and an HD supply man that I would see at the trade shows. That was it. So for me, not having the representation made me work even harder to become a
Mhm.
part so that I could start seeing more of the representation. And then I would just say that, like, access to information. So I
Mhm.
didn't know that I wanted to be a speaker, like in any avenue, really. But let alone like multifamily, which I
Yeah.
speak in a lot of industries, but multifamily is the one that, like, I am committed to being a multifamily speaker, right? I
Yeah.
didn't really know that was an avenue until I saw Dana Hill on the stage at Apartmentalize years ago.
Mm.
I was like, that's the Dana. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. I want to be. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And like, so I had never seen that. I had
Yeah.
never been to a national conference, so I
Yeah.
didn't have that access. That was my first time. And I had never seen someone doing something outside of either operations or supplier, which
Yeah.
she still was in operations, but seeing that you're also able to educate in that way and share your knowledge throughout all of your time in this industry. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm going to do that. And I did it.
She inspired you. I tell you, it's amazing how many people can inspire us on our journey that we never even realized this was the journey that we were going to go on, right? Whether that
Yes.
is be a speaker, whether that is to be an advocate and really advocate for those that, for representation and showing that. And I think that's so important because, as I was growing up, I didn't see it as well either. And so you want to continue to build that and show that in our industry or just in any industry or within a workplace, which is why is it so important for representation in a workplace? What's your thoughts on that? Let's kind of dive
I'm
in there.
Yeah, representation is a huge driver for folks. If you don't see yourself in a position, you're
Hmm.
not actively going to work towards it. Or
Hmm.
if you want that position, you know that you are going to be the first. So
Yeah.
that means you have to shatter that glass ceiling and you're going to have to take all the cuts and bruises that come along with that. So, not seeing someone having paved that path before you makes it really
Hmm.
hard for others to even consider going down that road.
Yeah.
Representation is so huge. And I really didn't realize the impact of being so vocal and so visible in our industry until I would start to go to conferences or see people and they're like, oh my God, I follow your LinkedIn. I
Yes.
see you like everything. Oh my goodness, I've never seen. And I'd be like, me, I just be doing whatever. So it's hugely important. And I'm thankful to have seen a Dana Hill on that stage to let me know that this is something that I could be doing. I know she knows that I'm a super fangirl of hers. Like, she knows that I
Hey, girl.
personal, but I don't think she knows that, me seeing her, like a light bulb click in my head, like, wow, I'm gonna do that. I'm
Um,
gonna be on stage at Apartmentalize one year. And I was.
I love that. And Dana, if you're listening, she's your fangirl. You inspired her to the T.
She
And it's
knows. So listen, full circle moment. Like, I'm
yes.
such a fan. Not only that, Dana Hill also has twins.
Oh,
um, and we are going to be speaking at Cultivate together next month.
hey, what's up? Hey, that's
I was
awesome.
like, oh, I
Right.
get to speak with my superhero. That's amazing. Dana or Dana. I can't wait.
Is there any nerves in that? Because I definitely would be nervous. I had one of those moments before where like I had Melissa D. White on as on
Mhm.
one of my episodes. And I got nervous because I was like, oh my God, I see you. I know what you do out there in the world. You're national. And then she's like, just calm down. Let's do a little dance. No.
No, like if you know Dana, she is so amazing and she's so
Mm.
warm and welcoming. So I don't have any nerves working with her. I'm more so overly excited. So maybe
Aw.
I feel, but no nerves. I'm ready for it.
Oh, no, that's awesome. And congratulations on that. That's
Thank
what
you.
it's all about. To me, that's right there is thriving. You are thriving. Someone inspired you and motivated you. You saw that representation. You built from that. You grew from that. And then now look where you're at. You get to now full circle moment. I love those aha moments. I tell you, when someone gets on these episodes and they start talking about their full aha moments or their full circles, it's so amazing, Dana. So amazing. But let's kind of dive a little bit deeper in that. Can you share an experience that you had that made a difference when it came to representation in the workplace?
There have been so many experiences for me, and really it was probably my pivot from being a sales executive in an organization to
Ah,
moving into people operations.
yeah.
So George Floyd was murdered in 2020, and that really hit me and my family very, very hard. As a
Mhm.
mother of Black children, at
Yeah.
the time I was married to a Black
Mhm.
husband, like it was a conversation that we were having over that weekend. And we were talking about, how we felt, really
Mhm.
preparing our children for the world, helping them to understand what had happened and the magnitude of that situation. So then fast forward to going back to work and everything, trying to get things back to normal, but it really wasn't back to normal for myself. And I knew that other Black employees had to be feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there had to be some conversations being had and people just feeling that heavy weight
It's
of the
very
job.
heavy. Yeah, definitely understand that having a son and every day, worried about his livelihood and his safety. And, in that moment of that time was very pivotal for all of us. And so I definitely can empathize with that as well too. So, and it's
Yeah,
so
that
much
was
more education to get to give people and be insightful.
yeah, it was huge for me and it was my turning point to be because like I say I'm a reformed introvert, so I'm never like super I was never like put me in coach. And then like my friends know that I'm like super outgoing and very like a personality, but never in public or never on a big stage in the way that I am now. But when that happened, I realized like, hey, you have things to say that can help other people have a better experience. You don't have the privilege of being quiet. You have to speak up.
Yeah.
You are supposed to be speaking up like
Hmm.
for marginalized voices. You are
Yeah.
the amplifier. So
Yeah.
it's time for me to get active. And I got really active. I formed their Black Employee Resource Group,
Mm.
started to see all the other employee resource groups, and we added on a women's group that I stood up. And from there, it just was like, I'm creating culture and engagement
Yeah.
inside the organization, but also really driving DEI. So I like to say that my passion really outperformed my profession. Because at the
Yeah.
same time, like when I'm founding this group, I'm still working in sales.
Hmm.
And I really just worked myself out of that job and right into people operations because I'm like, sales what? Like, I want to focus on the internal customer. I want to focus on our employees, making sure they
Yeah.
have the best experience. And that's how I became a DEI advocate, champion, however you want to say it. And I really
Yeah.
ingratiated myself in the knowledge and the learning of it and was like, okay, this is what I'm charged to do. This is
Yeah.
what is going to be my next step.
Wow. Wow. I love that. And I think you hit on some really important pivotal things and some, as I call them, positive nuggets or nuggets in general, because at the end of the day, we need people to advocate. We need our voices to be heard. We need to speak up and really collectively as a whole, you know, hopefully make changes. And how does that start? What are those resources, Dana? What are, the things that you can give the world to let them know how to get those resources or how to be more involved? I'm kind of interested in picking your brain a little bit about that because I think it's so important.
For me, my path to really getting people engaged and better understanding was always programming.
Okay.
So, employee resource groups were a huge space for me to want to be able to educate, and then
Hmm.
to be able to activate the folks who were Black and also our allies to
Yeah.
learn more, to want to do more, to want to support the community more. So I would say education and action through programmings really was a jumping off point for me. You have to want to be better and do better. You also
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to self-reflect. And I think that's the hard part for me.
Yeah.
Like I just did a keynote on allyship yesterday.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
I stressed to them like the hard part, like, yes, you want to educate yourself and get all of these resources. Yes, you want to be an actionable ally. But the hard part is really the self-reflection and learning, like, hey, what are some things that I could be better at? How could I be a better ally? What are my blind spots? Who am I not speaking up for? Who am I less inclined to vouch for or to amplify their voices? So really doing that internal work is hard to do. And I'm a DEI practitioner, a DEI consultant. And I tell people all the time, like, I do not DEI perfectly. I am constantly learning, evolving, and growing. And it requires continued self
Yeah.
reflection of how could I be better? How could I do better? And what else can I learn in order to do those things?
I agree with you 100%. I'm learning every day still. I'm still trying to educate myself, and I'm not a DEI expert. So I learned from you, Dana, and gaining that knowledge more, but also knowing what's right versus wrong, right? And activating that voice. And I think at the end of the day, people sometimes are scared to open their voices and speak up because of the outcome or the judgment or what people may think or feel. And I think sometimes you're right. It's about your self-reflection. It's about learning and then being able to grow from there. So again, I think you hit on some really great things on that. And it's very important, especially now, right? I tell you, our world is but we all need to come together as the community and be within our allies. So you were talking about, culture experience, right? And how to maintain that and what does that look like? And what role do you believe leadership plays when it comes to that? What can they do?
Leadership, it has to come from top down. Like if you
Mhm.
are touting that we have this positive company culture, you have to actually be actionable about that. You have to know that that is the truth. So anything comes from leadership and it's supposed to trickle down. We know
Mhm.
sometimes it gets held up in maybe middle management or executives.
Yeah.
Like we know it gets held up, but it really has to be something at the forefront of the company. You
Mhm.
have to be type of leader that says, this is the experience I want for myself and my
Yeah.
organization. When people come in, I want to make sure that they feel that they are a part of this.
Yeah.
Not that they come in and they feel like, okay, I'm just here to do my job. Like, do you really want a positive culture? And that starts from day one. Like, it really starts with online curb appeal. What are you showing people about your company? What are you showing people about your
Mhm.
organization? What are your beliefs, your mission, your vision?
Ah,
And then it goes to that recruiting. Like, who are your recruiters? What are they really good at recruiting? Do they have a diversity lens when they're thinking
yeah.
about your organization? Or are they only pulling from one pot? People educated in this way, people
Yeah.
from this industry, people who live in this region. So
Mm.
we have to kind of make sure that everybody is educated in the fact that this is the culture and experience we want to have in our organization. Then from recruiting to onboarding, like your onboarding needs to be an inclusive space as well. You
Yeah.
need to be touting those things that you do for DEI. You need to be talking about the culture and engagement. You need to be talking about the achievements and even sometimes the downfalls. Like, hey, we didn't get this right, but this is how we pivoted. This is how we made it better to show people it's okay to not be perfect inside of this organization. This is what happens when we're not perfect,
Mhm.
but we know that we are a company that is going to work hard to get to that next level and to fix whatever mishaps may come up.
Mhm.
Then that employee experience, that full life cycle, we're talking about performance reviews. How are they going? What is your people manager training like? What are you telling them? What should they be implementing on the
Right?
team? It is full circle creating that culture and engagement experience that you want people to brag about. You really have to be intentional about doing the work.
Chadwell Supply is the proud sponsor of Multifamily Media Network. Chadwell Supply is the largest privately owned MRO supply company and is committed to the multifamily industry. They deliver orders the next day from local warehouses across the United States. Chadwell Supply offers valuable resources such as maintenance training, a dedicated renovations team, and procurement platform assistance, ensuring multifamily properties operate more efficiently. Now, by partnering with Chadwell Supply, they'll help communities stand out in the increasingly competitive market. So learn more at chadwellsupply.com/difference.
You do. Intentional. You said some great keywords. So transparency, right? That's key. You got to be transparent with all your new hires on board, especially allowing them to see what is like real versus not. But at the end of the day, building that value of your company, your organization, your representation of that organization, where you're diving in. I loved how you even pulled out with the recruiters, because I think that's important. Like, who are they actually looking for, right? What are they pulling from? What pot are they pulling from? Just because someone may have all of these qualifications, that doesn't mean that person still is not really a great fit. And I think at the end of the day, it's a full circle in that. But that's what people like us are now that we're looking at in organizations. That's what we want to see. I don't want to go on your website and see one thing. I want to see all things, right? And I want to feel like this is part of my fit just as much as part of your fit. And that's the whole the balance with that. So I definitely like how you touched on a lot of those things. And I think that's something that it does start with the leadership. It starts with your executives and the backing, and then how it comes down from the top down to the bottom. Because if you don't have your employee engaged from day one, you ain't going to have your employee engaged at all. Okay. So we do drop the mic.
Yeah, that's 2 years down the road, you looking to try to re-engage them and they were never engaged. Like, good luck. Looking for another job. That's what they're doing.
That's all they're doing. They're going to look for something else, because at the end of the day, an employee wants to feel valued. An employee wants to feel like this is their new home. This is their new workplace. They're spending all of these hours with you. They want to know, do they have a voice within this company as well? And you're right. It is speaking with the DEI. What is the programming? What does that look like? And that's something I think is a missing component that we're still working towards in a lot. And I see that even from my past experience and growing and building in that. So I think you're touched up on a lot of things. You even added some great strategies, so some effective ways of how to do that. See, that speaker came out of you, that facilitator came out of you, Dana. You know.
What can I say? They don't call me the big speaker for no reason. You know?
I love it though, but that's what makes great conversations. If people can sit down like how we are and having a conversation about what are ways that we can improve, what are things that can be effectively done, how can we make change, how can we make a difference, right? And then kind of build from that. So, all right, let's lighten it up a little bit. So, what's a fun fact that people may not know about you?
Oh, a fun fact about me is I already told you all I have twins. I'm very funny, but y'all know that because my podcast is hilarious.
What? I didn't know you were funny at all. What are you talking about?
I'm pretty animal obsessed.
Ah.
I love animals so very much. I'm only allowed to own a dog, but I love animals. In the area of Hampton Roads that I live in is kind of like it's like it's developed, but it still has this little country essence of my backyard is like a forest, right?
Oh.
So any day where I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking or washing dishes or whatever, I could see any type of anything in the backyard. Usually it's like deer or rabbits or occasional snake, lizard. But I absolutely love it. And I was telling people, like, for my birthday, I would like a wildlife camera to place in my forest so that I can you do not look like you. I'm just saying, you know, look so cute.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. We're all going to go visit Dana in her backyard of animals. And we're going to see what's
Another thing that professionally people probably don't know, because of course I don't post on LinkedIn about it, but like I'm gym obsessed.
Really?
So, I'm very strong. I'm extremely strong, and I go to the gym like every single day. It is it's a huge driver of me being able to just keep up with everything that I have going on.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. You know what? That's actually good. You probably get a lot of stress relief and know how to keep that balance with everything, right? And work through. Me, I'm the opposite. I don't do I don't want to look at a treadmill. I don't want to look at a weight. I will just be the nature with your deer. I'll walk outside.
Man, I have been on both ends of the spectrum where I have not been into the gym, like, no, don't even talk to me about it. And now it's like I'm completely focused on my body, my mind, and my health, and just trying to find that balance because we get so busy. Like, we're
Yes.
hosting podcasts, we're speaking, which sometimes requires travel,
Yeah.
we're moms. You and myself, we're entrepreneurs. So it's like
Yes.
constant, how am I building my brand? How am I
Ugh.
building my business? And I always find that I can get back to, center or peace if I'm focusing on my mind and my body through the gym.
No, I love that. I love that. I think we all have something that really creates that outlet. Me, I'm a big journaler. I love to write. I love to kind of transpire my stories through that. And I think it helps me on that tune as well. And I think at the end of the day, that's we need that self-care, right? And
Yeah.
because
I'm not gonna write anything. Like the way you would run away from a treadmill is the way I would run away from a journal.
she's like, I'm going to run away
No.
from the. Oh, I think you told me that. I think you were saying you're very more creatively on that side versus on the writing side.
I do not like writing is my least favorite form of communication. Of course I can do it, but like it takes work for me to be like, because I have ADHD and I have a very creative mind. So it's like
Ah, yeah.
I'd rather be doing something with color or video or voice. So like, oh, this is dry. It's black and white.
This is just pen and paper. What's today?
Yeah, like, whoa.
Oh
My
gosh.
hand hurts.
Trust me. There's days I just stare at the screen and be blank. I feel like I don't know what my thoughts are today, but that's it. Okay, I
Yeah.
accomplished that. But I think
Mhm.
I have learned through just with your mental capacity that with me, it just helps. And I think that's something that's been my thriving force of continuously pushing through. So I get it. We all have certain things that it helps us, and that's our outlet, whether that is your faith, whether that is, journaling, whether that is your working out, or, with me, I would love to go sit on by the beach all day, every day with, a margarita in my hand, at the end of the day, that
Now,
water.
we are lying to my girl. We are the same in that.
Oh, ready? Because this entrepreneurship is not for the birds.
Margarita break by the beach. Thank you.
I definitely need it because some days, do you ever feel like being an entrepreneur and building your brand and growing that you just have moments where like this roller coaster is going down? I need it.
Like, what is happening?
Oh gosh, I think I question my outlook and purpose every day. I sit back like, is this really what it's about?
That-
What? I'm an expert today? Okay, let's try this. This has turned into very much hilarious. I love it. It is the truth. I think it's a full circle for all of us, us being from operation, from, side, and me stepping out on faith and doing this, just like if you doing the same thing, it's a lot of different components. And then you have people who've been in the game for years. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm just going on year 2.
I'm new here. Hello. How you making it? How you surviving?
One day at a time, Lord, great Lord knows, one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. Really, seriously.
Oh gosh, but that's what that's what it's all about, right? That's your vision. And I think it kind of pulls it back to how do people find their visions? And I think where do they know? How, if someone was to come to you, Dana, and be like, I see what you do, you inspire me, you grow, just like Dana, right? With you. How would you tell someone to get their vision and how to kind of walk through that path?
It's kind of hard to tell someone how to get their vision because honestly, it's so everything I do is like so fueled with passion. Like
Yes.
I am going to do this. This is the thing that I'm most focused on and I want to. For those people who are not super passion filled or passion motivated, what is the thing that you hate doing the least? What makes you feel like, oh, I could survive doing this? Like,
I
this
love
is
that.
and then you start driving towards that. I would say a lot of my vision and my mission and the things that are inside of me, they come long before me. Like my grandfather was one of the first Black people on radio here. My grandmother
Oh.
was the first Black chorus teacher in the city of Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother now, she is 82. She's a pastor of a church. So come from a long line of orators and people who are going to say what they feel and think.
Mm-hmm.
And it never was like, I'm like, oh no, I'm not like them. I'm never. And then one day it was like, it's in your DNA. So now you're not going to be able to stop talking. Good luck with
I love that. That's the legacy, right? That they leave behind. And I truly can relate to that with my grandmother and her legacy and being here within her roots and on my dad's side and just learning and gaining her insight and her wisdom. I tell you, if you ever had an opportunity to sit with someone that is beyond years, life, they will give it to you straight up. And then you turn around, like you said, I don't know, can I say, yep, it's in your DNA. That means it's your time. It's our time as your lineage to kind of grow and build out and speak.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. It's like when I think about it. So my grandmother, she went back and got her doctorate in her 80s. She passed in January. She was 92. So she went back and got her doctorate in her 80s. And she wrote her dissertation. She gave us all a copy of her dissertation. And when I look at it and I read it and I'm thinking about the things that she had to deal with as a Black woman going into schools that were newly integrated or, you know, trying to resist that and trying to teach, and the things that she was like, I would have to drive to the schools and I would always make sure I packed my lunch because there was nowhere on the way there that would serve colored people. So when I think about how she had to go through all of these things and do all of these things to be able to do what her passion was to teach.
Yeah.
All I have to do is log onto a Zoom to be able to spread my message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all I have to do is submit a proposal and ask somebody to work with me or, you know, be willing to travel and do the things that I love. She had to do so much more than I have to do. So I try to just keep that in frame. Like, girl, this is not hard that you don't.
Yeah.
Like,
that is amazing. That's amazing. That right there motivates me. It gives me chills because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? And for you to continue to have that inspiration within you and even within the drive. And I mean, come on, wrote a dissertation in her what?
Yeah, and I told you I'm not
You
writing.
want to write? Oh, it's in your blood.
Just got my bachelor's degree last year, okay?
It's okay. She started late too and wrote it, so it's in your blood, Dana. When's that book coming out? I'm ready for it.
It'll be an audiobook.
Love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Dana, this has been such an amazing conversation and just getting to know you and you sharing your insights, your passion. Oh God, it just comes out. I can definitely see it. It's definitely something to be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to you being a DEI advocate, but also just your culture experience with teams and just being, you. And I think that's amazing. And I think that's something that the world needs to see. And you already are out there on that note, but it's just all about thriving. And to me, that's what it's about. We're thriving in our own intricate ways and growing and building. And that's amazing. So I'm inspired by you. And like I said, I'm ready for that book. Okay. Audio book.
Yeah.
I will hit play. You can speak the words and have someone else write it.
It could be a movie. You don't know me. It might just be a movie to play.
There you go. You know what? Today we're going to speak things into existence. What is it that we want to do? Okay, you get that movie going. All right. Just remember the people over here to the left.
You will remember. You gonna write the script.
I'm not gonna do that. Teamwork. That's what I'm talking about. Collaboration. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I could probably talk for days with you. At the end of the day, this has been such.
I believe we haven't done this sooner. This is great.
I know. It's like such a joy. And, and I'm learning more about you. And so a couple more things. How can someone continuously stay motivated towards their goals? What's one thing that you think works or doesn't work?
You got to dig deep. You got to dig really deep to stay motivated towards your goals.
Yeah.
Because just like you and I expressed, like entrepreneurship is really hard. It's really hard. This is a goal that we have for ourselves. We've decided that this is the way that we're going to go. it's really hard. I try to give myself grace on the days where I'm like, girl, nah, wait, this is too much.
Yeah.
And then I try to reward myself on the days where it's like, oh, you're killing it.
Yes.
So I really try to celebrate myself, even if it's something small.
Yeah.
When I'm really good friends with Ishia Shepherd. If you all know her, the joyful leader. Whenever either one of us has anything going on as far as like a speaking engagement or anything major that we're doing, which sometimes doesn't feel major, right? Like yesterday I did a 20-minute keynote and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna but after it, it's like we'll call each other and be like, how was it? Killed it. Killed it.
I love it. I love it. That's
that short form like celebration of like, I did my thing. What can I say? It was amazing. I am great.
right.
And then continue to chase that feeling of greatness, right? I would say that is the way to continue to drive towards your goals.
I love that. Chase that feeling of greatness. Girl, that's a quote. That's a quotable moment there. Write it down because I think at the end of the day, you're right. You got to celebrate those wins and have those people that's going to celebrate it with you. So, yeah, everyone out there, remember that. You got to chase those wins, but you also got to celebrate yourself. And no win, big or small, is nothing when it comes to your dreams, your aspirations, or your goals. You got to have it within you. It really does start with inside of you. I definitely can agree with that. So any lasting thoughts that you would love to tell the world from, coming from you?
Any lasting thoughts? One, book me and Lissi. Thank you.
Have fun.
Yeah. Entrepreneur life is not easy, so keep the girls booked and busy. We definitely appreciate you for doing that.
Love the love.
Yeah, like I always say, my tagline, the key to inclusion is transparency. I tell all of my business in hopes of cultivating an inclusive space. I've seen it work. So if you are like me and you're a person who doesn't mind sharing your business, try transparency to see what happens. Like try telling people, try leading with the fact, like I lead with the fact, hey, I have ADHD. You're going to think that I'm going to follow the direction, step 1, step 2, step 3. No, I'm going to zig and I'm going to zag and I might go in a circle, but I will come to the end at some point and you'll be very happy with the results. So lead with the things that make you you. For me, that's transparency and humor. Whatever your superpower is, whatever your strength, people will respect it because it's authentic and it's genuine to you.
And that's it. Mic drop. She done said it like it is. And I think I have the perfect caption for that. Lead with yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. And you said it, Dana. Oh my. Okay. I kind of want to have part 2, but we won't go there. What's the next conversation? But anyways, thank you. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Thriving in Multifamily. This has been an amazing conversation, and I hope everyone out there got some amazing nuggets, some great insights, some good laughs, because I know I did. And now I'm a big fan of Dana, not like I always was before, but I appreciate everything. And again, until the next time, everyone, stay visionary out there. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I hope our conversations have inspired you to act and achieve your career goals. Remember, the key to success is to continue learning and growing. And as always, stay visionary. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our industry podcast, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities.
Thank you again to Chadwell Supply for sponsoring this episode. Chadwell Supply delivers unforgettable service with next day delivery, online and in-person maintenance training, procurement platform, assistance to make your ordering simple. Visit chadwellsupply.com/difference to learn how Chadwell Supply will make your day better.